You're such a pretty laptop. I just want to love you and kiss you, and you're naughty. You're naughty laptop.
Okay, it's time to give it to you straight up. Do I like this machine? Yes, absolutely. I love it. Do I like my Asus? Yes, I've got a lot of love to give, and both my babies get it. But let me tell you what I love about my Apple and what I don't love so much. Now, there's no denying that this is currently the prettiest laptop in production. It's thin, it's sleek, and everything about the way that this machine is designed makes me proud to show it off. For presentational purposes, whether meeting with a client for the first time, presenting images, showing off a slideshow, or really just in front of people in general, I always prefer to be on my Mac. And this also partly has to do with the stigma of basically everyone thinking that creative work or creative professionals need to be doing their work on an Apple. In fact, our entire front area of our studio where we meet with our clients is all Apple. And then once we sign our clients, we step them back into the PC production room. But the bottom line is whenever we are out and about and appearances are important, there's something to say about using the MacBook Pro in these situations. Its bold, beautiful screen along with its sleek design makes it simply a better presentational laptop. Next, the Macbook Pro Retina is small, light, and thin, and it's probably my favorite on-the-go machine as it has an amazing battery life, although I never get as advertised battery life unless I'm just doing word processing with the screen almost pitch black. But still, it's probably the best laptop I've used for travel and on-the-go computing. Regarding the Retina display, I love the fact that it comes well calibrated straight out of the box, and in fact, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you could probably do your editing and color grading work straight from the factory with decent results. But let me be clear and honest, I was a little bit disappointed overall with the Retina display. Given that this is a 15-inch IPS display, I didn't really expect to see any viewing angle shifting from edge to edge when looking straight on the screen. After all, it's a small screen and we're viewing it from fairly close. But it actually did have some shifting. In fact, while it was better than the Asus's TN display, it was only better by just a small margin, and it really couldn't compare to a standalone desktop IPS screen. In addition, I found it rather difficult to see the difference between a standard Full HD 1080p 15-inch screen or even 17-inch screen at a regular viewing distance versus the Retina's 2880 by 1800. I mean, it sounds amazing, the resolution sounds awesome, but it's a 15-inch screen, and at a standard viewing distance, I just felt like the screen was too small to pick up on the difference in resolution. In fact, one of our in-studio Apple fanboys was like, "Pye, dude, look at the text. Look at how crisp the text is." And he was looking at it from like 1 inch away. And I'm like, seriously, bro, if I'm only gonna be able to tell the difference in the text when looking at it from 1 inch away, I don't think it's gonna do much for me. So the uber high resolution in the 15-inch display really didn't do that much for me. Now, is it the nicest display available on a laptop currently? Yes, absolutely it is. But is it that much nicer? I'm willing to argue that it's not really that much crazy nicer. Okay. Now I'm waiting for you to start throwing virtual tomatoes and flame bombs in my face. Still nothing? Okay, let's keep going. Now, it boasts an incredibly powerful processor, which is awesome. But given its design and size, for heat and performance reasons, we're stuck with the GeForce GT 650M 1GB dedicated video card, which is really, in my book, the tough cookie when it comes to this computer's specs. This is the main reason why it really can't be my primary machine, because the video card simply isn't powerful enough and we don't have any other options. So this video card did slow quite a bit during real-time video editing, as we previously demonstrated in our Premiere demonstrations. My experience with Apple products in regards to their reliability has been quite good. In fact, I've never really had Apple products fail on me from a hardware standpoint. Apple uses high quality components and they use great design, and it shows when your computer will outlast most other not so high quality PC builds. But that being said, my experience with OS X has been filled with some not so stellar experiences, and most of the time I'm actually amazed that Apple can get away with saying things like our machines or our operating system doesn't crash or it doesn't blue screen. For me, this is like claiming that your farts smell like roses, and Apple, they don't. Have I ever blue screened my Apple machine? No, because they don't kick you to a blue screen. They just randomly start doing really weird things. Apps will shut down, the machine will lock up, and I even just sold my MacBook Air, which all of a sudden had the strangest issue of all going on, which was basically preventing me from being able to delete or move files from the desktop. So I couldn't do anything with it. And I even tried restoring it. I restored it completely and it said, restore successful, please restart your machine. And when I restarted it, my old desktop was there, all my stuff was still there, and it still couldn't delete or move things on the desktop. So I eventually had to go back to the Genius Bar. So I'm gonna call BS on the whole OS X thing being far superior to Windows or other operating systems. Is it better? Perhaps yes. But so much of it's going to come down to a matter of preference, so it's really a moot point. When it comes to my parents buying computers, I always recommend that they buy Apple. Why? Because it's simply more intuitive, it is more stable to some extent, and that plus the Genius Bar means that I don't get phone calls from my parents at 12 a.m. asking me for help troubleshooting their computers. But regarding the operating system itself, it's really one area that I can objectively say that everyone needs to decide for themselves. Personally, I grew up using Windows and it's what's familiar to me. I love OS X for casual use, but trying to use it for work at the rate of speed that I do within Windows is rather frustrating. And in fact, I find myself wanting to bash my head against the wall sometimes when I have to manually resize Windows to get them to organize and cascade how I want. But I know people that work extremely efficiently in OS X as well. So I'm going to say that it's really a matter of preference when it comes down to operating system. Except for the case of development tools, in that case you'll need to develop on the system that has the tools that you need. Now Apple computers come at a steep price, but it isn't so much the price that often bothers me. I don't mind paying a premium for a machine that has a better design and better components, which it does. The problem is that for nearly $4,500 in this laptop, I still didn't get a laptop that could do everything that I wanted it to. The main hindrance being the video card, and I had no other options here. The other tough thing to swallow is the fact that Apple, who once used to be all about servicing the professional, is now about servicing the consumers. In fact, we can't purchase the Macbook Pro Retina with our needed hardware, and we can't even upgrade the device on our own, given that everything is essentially now being integrated and soldered into the machine. And how about a choice of operating systems without having to install Boot Camp and doing everything by myself? It would be absolutely amazing if I could purchase an Apple machine and choose the Windows operating system to my preference. So in conclusion, do I dig my MacBook Pro Retina? Absolutely. I love this machine, and it's my go-to machine when it comes to travel, to presentations, to client meetings, to leisure use. But it's not necessarily my go-to machine when it comes to productivity, given the steep purchase price and lack of pro hardware options at purchase and lack of upgradability in the future. For this reason, I can only give my beloved Apple somewhere around 4 to 4.5 out of 5 stars, and second place in my heart, just behind my true love, my Asus. And with that being said, let the flaming comments begin.